Paul Forrest, and I'm the chairman of MBN Solutions, and we have the honourable role today of hosting this event. This is our second ScotChain event, and I must keep remembering to stop calling it ScotChain17, which was obviously last year. Things have moved on quite a lot, and we think that over the course of today, you'll get a real opportunity to learn a little bit more about how much progress has been made, genuine progress has been made, moving beyond the hype and the discussions and the hyperbole that we had this time last year into real use cases with real practical applications that are creating opportunities for people to develop new skills, to do new things, and to transform and disrupt. Use today as an opportunity to network with many of the people who have blooded their hands on blockchain. Got a lot of them in the room. Use today as an opportunity to find out what people are doing, sometimes in and around the areas of fintech, but more often than not, most recently, in non-financial use cases, in non-fintech applications. So use today as an opportunity just to delve deep on that. I'm not going to say a great deal. I'm going to introduce the speakers that we have today, and I'm going to get off the stage and let them get on with it because we are tight on time. We've crammed a lot in, so hopefully it won't feel too much like there's a blistering pace going on, but fast enough to keep you all awake. There are regular breaks. The coffee here is brutal. So do take the opportunity to top up on that as you go. I've only had 2 cups and I'm wired. So we've got some great speakers, and as usual, we've tried to pick people that have got something to say that is not just topical, but it's deep and meaningful in the context of what you're here to find out about. This is not stuff which is superficial or high level. This is the detail. This is the real deal. We've got the best speakers from around the world to come along today to share their thoughts with you. So please, as I said earlier, take the opportunity to bend their ear whenever you get the chance. What I want to do, before I hand over to Paul, is to talk to you a little bit about our sponsors. This is a difficult ask, coming to people and saying, can you give us a little bit of money here to pay for the beers at the end of the day, or a bit of money to pay for the brutal coffee? We've got some great sponsors. We've got some returning sponsors, people who really will dig deep because they think this is important. It's important to them, it's important to Scotland, it's important to the blockchain community. So today we've got people like Deloitte, who will be speaking later on. We've got RBS, who have given us this very wonderful facility, again, 2 years running. Clearly we didn't ruin it for them last year. Well, I thought we had a good try at that. We've got Avaloc, who very kindly helped support last night's dinner for the speakers. We've got people here who have come along and we're speaking later on about their ventures, like wallet services, startup ventures, people who have got probably more skin in the game than anyone else in this space, and they've got some great stories to talk about. And I want you just to make sure you all make a beeline for Peter later on after his speech. So without further ado, and because I've taken up too much of my time already, what I'm going to do is introduce Paul. Paul Wheelhouse is the Minister for Business, Innovation and Energy. And I know Paul's, from a very brief chat we had, I know Paul's interest in this area is quite broad. But from a very useful perspective, he's got some tremendous insight about what this actually means for Scotland, what this means for Scotland becoming and maintaining its position as a powerhouse globally to support blockchain developments wherever they might be, with the very best talent, access to funding, and essentially the very best group of non-fintech and fintech business ideas. So Paul, if you could join me, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm delighted to be here at the ScotChain17 event, and thank you to Michael Young and his colleagues at MBN Solutions for the invitation to speak to you all today. As you'll no doubt appreciate, the rapid pace of change in the world of technology is transforming the way in which organisations, both private and public, including government, operate, and the way in which our customers collectively access services. And such changes present opportunities, of course, to right across the service landscape, from large firms who will derive great benefit from the innovative use of data, to the small innovative startup companies developing the ideas and technologies such advances will rely upon. And today is about discussing the opportunities for new disruptive technologies and how we best capitalise on them. The financial services sector is and always has been of huge importance to Scotland, and to put things in perspective, about 86,000 people are employed in Scotland today in financial services. And it's an area in which we have a long-standing reputation, are rightly recognised as world leaders. We have been involved with development, obviously, of everything from the current ATM technology, which is now perhaps being surpassed by new payment methods, through to development of retail banking, and indeed central banking in many respects as well. But new technologies such as blockchain have the potential to disrupt the financial services sector and transform how services are delivered. And therefore, it's of great interest, as Paul was suggesting, to ourselves in terms of protecting and hopefully growing the financial services sector in the future. But as you're here today, the opportunity is much wider, as has been indicated. Public services, healthcare, legal, cyber and crypto tech also stand to be transformed by technology such as this. And in March we published Scotland's refreshed digital strategy, which set out our vision for Scotland as a vibrant, inclusive, open and outward-looking digital nation. Now, our national digital strategy commits us to exploring new and emergent technologies such as the Internet of Things, cloud computing, sensors, artificial intelligence and distributed ledgers. The same topics that you are exploring today, as I understand. And that is an exciting opportunity for us all here. It's about how we collectively build our national capability from research and development of disruptive technologies through to widespread implementation and making sure that all sectors of the economy benefit from that innovation, through to exporting our know-how where we can do so, again, to generate further economic growth, be that products, services, or providing leading guidance on the complex cultural and legal realities of this emerging landscape. I want to touch briefly on a very important subject, given we're here at RBS as well, fintech. In the programme for government, which is the equivalent of the Queen's Speech, I suppose, in Scottish terms, where the Scottish Government sets out its legislative programme and key policies, which was announced just last month by the First Minister. The First Minister confirmed the Scottish Government's commitment to support and develop the fintech sector in Scotland. Scotland's financial sector has embraced the challenge of harnessing new technology and transforming the industry in Scotland, and many of you here in this room will be involved in that work. But working under the umbrella of Scottish financial enterprise, the industry has worked in partnership with academia, the Scottish Government itself, our agencies such as Scottish Enterprise, to establish a new strategy for the fintech sector in Scotland. Together, Scottish Government and Scottish Enterprise will provide funding of up to £250,000 to support the establishment of a new organisation, Fintech Scotland, a new industry-led body, and important to stress it is industry-led, which will champion, nurture and grow our fintech community. And I hope, and I believe this will be the case, provide hugely valuable networking opportunities for all in the sector who want to be part of the sector in terms of business-to-business engagement and the ability to influence policy as well, but hopefully to drive sales growth for fintech in Scotland. And this funding will supplement contributions and support from industry partners and the academic community. And Scottish Enterprise's support has been central to the creation of Fintech Scotland through coordinating the development of a comprehensive business proposal and an action plan, and now in leading the process to appoint Fintech Scotland's first Chief Executive Officer as well. Fintech Scotland will complement the work being done elsewhere in the sector, including the successful collaboration between RBS and Entrepreneurial Spark here in this very campus at RBS's Edinburgh headquarters, and the work taking place at locations across Scotland to support innovative companies. And I just want to put on record that I very warmly welcome the creation both of Fintech Scotland and also the collaboration that we're seeing here at RBS's headquarters. I think they're both extremely important in continuing the momentum that we're developing in fintech and to allow us to capitalise on a global opportunity there. But the availability of skills and a supportive investment environment will be essential, of course, in ensuring that the sector is able to capitalise on the future opportunities, particularly in the innovation-led fields of big data and fintech. And in Scotland, we have strengths in these areas that will allow us to carve out a niche in high-tech, high-growth companies that can be at the forefront of developing this sector and indeed wider interests. Now I want to turn briefly to the subject of CivTech, because we recognise the vital role of our tech entrepreneurs in stimulating Scotland's economy more widely than just financial services and transforming our industries, but also transforming our public services which can benefit greatly from the innovation that's happening out there in the private sector. And we want to make the public sector more accessible to very much our innovative SMEs and broaden our exposure to their cutting-edge knowledge and their innovation as it develops, and whether that is, again, in product, service or process. And essentially the same technologies that are revolutionising our professional services sectors, we believe, can also be well directed at the challenges facing the public sector, and we've got good reason to believe that is also already proving successful. So we must engage and harness this talent to address societal challenges. This way we can redesign our public services in imaginative and hopefully cost-efficient ways, with citizen participation at the forefront of it as well. And our CivTech programme is internationally leading the way in this field, and you might expect government to say that, but I know it is genuinely attracting admirers from across the globe. And speaking to Alexander earlier on, a great interest in Australia, Estonia, I believe, and other parts of the world. I know I met the French Minister for Innovation, who was extremely interested in CivTech when she visited Edinburgh last year. So there is huge international interest in the programme because it is pioneering collaboration between innovative SMEs and the public sector to identify public sector challenges and solve them with the expertise of the private sector community. But CivTech's mission is to drive daring and innovation in the public sector and so make people's lives better, and that's a very noble aspiration, a very worthwhile aim. It's about creating better public services too, and creating economic development opportunities for digital companies and empowering the public sector to think and procure differently. And indeed, CivTech has piloted some innovation in around procurement, which has, I think, been very interesting in terms of accessing very new companies that would otherwise have fallen through the net in terms of the procurement process. And the programme matches entrepreneurial digital talent with the public sector organisations to tackle civic challenges using technology to, for example, design smart roads, improve air quality in urban areas, or create a smarter booking system for outpatient appointments. These are just some of the examples to which this approach is being put. And last month, my colleague Derek Mackay, the Cabinet Secretary for Finance and the Constitution, who holds the purse strings in the Scottish Government, launched the CivTech 2 Accelerator. And this followed a very successful pilot in which all participating companies developed innovative prototypes in a mere 4-month period. Since then, 8 companies have already now won over £800,000 in additional contracts out with the initial programme, with 27 jobs being created and with hundreds of thousands of pounds more in the pipeline, I understand. It's proving extremely successful for those SMEs that participated in that first wave of projects. CivTech disrupts traditional methods of procuring products and services, pioneering a smarter approach that removes at a stroke the formidable barriers to entry for smaller companies, creating faster purchase cycles and a more equal playing field as well. And that is key if the Scottish public sector is to play its part as a global platform for disruptive technologies such as blockchain. So I hope in my brief remarks I've managed to convey that Scotland is a good place to do business for established businesses and new entrants alike. For strengthening Scotland's economy needs the support of the financial services industry and the technology sectors as well. I was just chatting earlier on to colleagues from Spiritus who are making very clear also the importance of data and big data and the knowledge and expertise around that, which is underpinning the dynamism of our life sciences sector, oil and gas sector, areas like renewables as well. So it's hugely important to us that data and the use of data is underpinning almost all of the modern sectors that are now so dynamic in our economy, and we are very fortunate to be doing very well in that respect. And speaking to Ona Murray from earlier on from Wallet Services, just about the fact that in Scotland we've seen 43% growth in the number of technology businesses in recent times, which is second only to growth in London. So we are seeing a very rapidly growing sector in Scotland, which is hugely exciting for government, and I hope hugely exciting for you to be part of it locally as well. But I have every faith that the connections made today between private sector, both large and small companies, public sector and academia, will further ignite the ambitions for Scotland to be global leaders, both in blockchain and other disruptive technologies, and ensure that Scotland is leading from the front, and the growth that is generated will create opportunities for all. It's hugely important We have, starting from a position where we have enormous sectors like financial services, which we have a great tradition in, that we have to try and protect employment and its economic footprint. With the city we are sitting in, 26% of jobs are dependent on financial services, so it's obvious with disruption happening in financial services, we either win in that debate and win in that game, or we are killed by it. So it's very important that Scotland embraces the change, works with it, and hopefully leads it so that it can be a success in the world that will emerge, rather than find ourselves being left in the wake of others. So I wish you every success. It's really exciting to me as Innovation Minister as well as Business Minister to come to a venue like this and see an audience so large as this embracing a very new sector and driving its growth. And I wish you every success, not just for yourselves, but for Scotland's sake. Thank you very much.